Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear brothers and sisters, viewers and friends of Ikra TV. Thank you for coming back to the second part of Real Talk. Today we've been talking to two very eminent guests that I've got in my studio with me. One you've met previously last week, Dr. Professor Farooq Ganchi, and today I've got the real privilege of having one of the most senior executive directors of an NHS trust, foundation trust in this country, and that is Sajid Azib from Bradford Teaching Hospitals, and he's a local person, and I don't think in my life I've ever met anybody from our community or any other black community at the management level that he is in, and he's been giving us some insight as to what his role and responsibilities are, which are absolutely enormous. To manage and run an organization that touches our lives from the cradle to the grave is something that, it's not a joke. It has a deep impact and deep effect on people's lives. So I'm really happy that he's been with us and we've been talking about his role and responsibilities. We'll be talking about the future plans for the NHS. But I'm deeply grateful today to be joined by another guest, Dr. Mariam Aziz, who I believe that we're getting the technical issues sorted out, and she's a GP, and she has been in the forefront of trying to get our community to take up the campaign of vaccination, and I think she was instrumental in getting the mosque in Keighley to be one of the first mosques in this country to open its doors and allow people to come in, use the masjid as a place where vaccination could take place. So I think that in itself broke the mold for many, many people. And if that more than anything else gave confidence to others that if the mosque is happy, then everybody should go and do what others were doing, that is getting themselves vaccinated. So I'm joined, hopefully, we have a call at the moment, I've been told. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Can you give me your name and where you're calling from, please?
It's Mohammed Aslam Javed from Nelson in Lancashire.
Oh, mashallah. Yeah, we don't discriminate against people from the other side of the Pennines. So you're absolutely welcome.
It's lovely that we are still a neighbouring authority.
I've just been to Skelmersthorpe, so I came from Wigan this afternoon.
Well, it's nice. You should have passed it through the Pendle area.
Inshallah. You have one of the most...
Brother Shabazz, first of all, can I thank you bringing this lovely program. I've been watching your series of events over the last a good number of months, especially the COVID relationship.
Thank you very much.
I just wanted to first two things, because my whole family was affected, myself, and I went to our Blackburn Royal Infirmary, how they're coping, man. Obviously, quite extremely difficult situation for everybody, and particularly for our vulnerable, elderly, disabled, people with logistic and difficulties, and especially when somebody died. I think we need to be much more aware of how can we at the bereavement time, we can support for Janazah time, and Qabristan, there has been events that a lot of people went to Janazah and events to Janazah and Qabristan burial. And top of that, I feel there is a very little support at the moment available up and down our very high level of concentration from BME community, particularly older generation. And I'm talking about particularly support for bereavement
services,
and also support for food. And, those people, quite a number of depressed, vulnerable, and mental health services been affected. GP services badly affected in our Pendle area. I know I've been trying to access when I was affected, my whole family, and it's been very difficult to get out of your GP manager, practice manager. But I think we need to learn the lesson from this epidemic, and as a community and a mosque, we need to look at how we can organize better our own affairs.
Can I ask you? I mean, I agree with you that a lot of people have been affected by bereavement. Maybe we don't have the type of support services that we should have.
We should be developing our much more wider level.
But can I just stop you there, brother? I know in other parts of the country, not just in this region, I know that there are a lot of people who are stepping up and supporting people who are suffering through this this enormous pandemic that is affecting all our communities. But I take your point. Thank you very much. In terms of your GP service,
can I finally say that we need to work helping especially the indigenous community. This is a golden opportunity. So we bring our deen, our iman on the forefront.
Totally agree.
And people lot suffering from alcoholism, drugs, and this way we can bring into the right path of Deen Muhammad.
Inshallah. Excellent point.
My name
excellent
is
point.
Aslam.
Muhammad Aslam Sahab, excellent
And
point.
I work local authority 30 years. I've been a community worker all my life, 50 years in the race quality movement as well.
Muhammad Aslam Sahab, I'm going to have to stop you there because I'm waiting for the doctor. I'm going to have to, the camera too. I've got, is Dr. Maria ready with us? Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Maria Aziz. Thank you very much for joining us. Can I just say thank you to Aslam Sahab for his comments. I think he's right that we as a Muslim community at this time, we have, and the Muslim community in Bradford, for example, certainly has, and in other parts of the country, have stepped up and shown what Islam is all about. So Dr. Mariam Aziz, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome to Real Talk. I'm the host, Iqbal Bana. Really nice to have you here, and thank you for joining us. I hope you're keeping well and safe. And can I ask you, first of all, you're a GP, is that, I believe, in Keighley?
Yes, that's right. Walaikum salam. Thank you so much for having me onto the show, on the show this evening. Yes, I've been a GP in Keighley since 2012, so I'm very familiar with the local area, having grown up in Leeds and going to school in Bradford as well. So it's an area, West Yorkshire is an area that's very close to my roots, and it's one that I'm very familiar with.
I'm sorry, Dr. Mari, I'm going to have to just say we're having some slight technical issues in terms of we can't hear you in the studio at this moment in time. So please carry on. I mean, you're a GP. You, I believe, were involved in the masjid in Keighley in helping to open the mosque up and undertake the vaccinations over there. How did you find that experience of getting the mosque to open up?
Actually, alhamdulillah, it happened very organically. It happened very quickly. I certainly didn't feel like there were any barriers in place. There was a young trainee imam working at the Central Mosque, and he was very quick to kind of take the project on board, could see the importance of it, could see the importance of making sure the vaccine was being delivered to the people who needed it the most. Unfortunately, like Mr. Aslam was saying, there's been a lot of bereavement in our Muslim and South Asian communities in Bradford and Keighley, and I think that seeing that loss so visible in the community and seeing the needs to get the vaccination out there so that we can prevent further losses like that was certainly of utmost importance in everyone's mind.
And I'm sure you'll be aware, like we are all aware, there's been a lot of stuff going on social media, sometimes by imams and alims from around the world, decrying the fact that this vaccine has got all sorts of nefarious ingredients in it. I mean, in your experience, was that some of the issues that you've been questioned on?
Yes, that there were the people who were coming down to the mosque last Thursday when we had the first clinic. Alhamdulillah, we vaccinated 160 people. We were actually having to turn people away at the end because word was getting around in the community, and people were, I was vaccinating people, and they were saying, "Oh, can I bring my mum down? Can I bring my cousin down? Can I bring my sister down?" And unfortunately, obviously we have to go via the cohorts which were given, and we only had a limited supply of vaccine that day. But I think some of the questions that people were asking, the main myths that are going around is obviously, is there a tracking device in the vaccination? Is this going to affect my fertility? Is this going to change my DNA? They seem to be the three main myths that are going around. And certainly, I was able to dispel them. There is absolutely no evidence which suggests that any of those three things would occur or would happen. It cannot affect your DNA. The vaccination doesn't affect the nucleus of your cells, so there's no scientific way in which it can affect your DNA once it's given to you. The other thing is that it doesn't affect fertility. I think the reason that myth has come about is because there was a precaution to give it to pregnant women, and that was because the studies have obviously not been done on that cohort. So that was a purely precautionary measure rather than because they had any evidence to suggest that it affected fertility. And then the other thing, the other myth with regards to tracking, I mean, obviously there are a lot of anti-vaxxers out there. There are a lot of myths, and these are clouding up social media and affecting people's judgment. But there's certainly absolutely no scientific evidence to suggest that is the case. And for some people, it was something just as small as they thought the vaccine might hurt. They were worried about the immediate side effects. So many of my patients, once I'd administered the vaccine, were like, "Oh, is that it? Is bas ye, boy or?" They were expecting.
इतना जल्दी हो गया. इतना जल्दी हो गया.
Sorry, what was that?
I was saying इतना जल्दी हो गया.
Yeah, exactly.
So quick.
Any jaldi, but. And they were surprised that I'd even given them the vaccination because they didn't feel anything. So, I mean, the main side effects that people may experience, and this is not everybody who will experience, is some people may experience a mild fever, they may experience some pain in their joints or a headache, but they tend to be mild and should settle within the week of the vaccine. But certainly last week we were giving up to 1,200 vaccinations in the community every day. We did 6,000 vaccines last week in our local community. And, alhamdulillah, there were no serious complications. And I mean, even if you think about the 15 million that have been given across the country, that's a big cohort to have taken the vaccination, starting from before Christmas. And, so far we're yet to see any serious implications. So people should definitely be, our community should definitely be reassured by that. It is really important that we do engage with this vaccine process. It is very normal for people to have reservations, to have questions.
Do you feel that being a female practicing Muslim, clinician in the area had an impact on people's views about it?
I don't necessarily think that I have as much power as maybe I'd like to think. I think there is people have a lot more trust in their community leaders than they do necessarily in doctors all the time. I certainly think that being able to speak their language and people talking to me about their fears. But
you're a practitioner. You've got a GP practice there, haven't you, in Keighley?
Yes,
so obviously you have a patient list there, and you've built up your trust, and they have confidence in you. Do you think that obviously must have had some impact on people's minds, I presume?
Yeah, most definitely. It does. It does have a positive impact. And I think, like I said, language being the main thing, and obviously being a Muslim and being, I'm able to understand the framework in which they're talking with regards to their deen, with regards to, their culture. I can understand it more than, say, a GP who's not from their background. So I think that certainly helps, and it has certainly helped me build up a rapport with my community.
So I mean, we haven't got that much time, but if you had a real important message to give to people outside your area, in the rest of the country and rest of Europe, this program is watched quite widely. What would be your most important message that you want to give to people?
The most important message for me would be that please, especially the younger people in our community, because a lot of these social myths are being spread within the younger people in our community, and they are then going home. And as a community, we have a lot of intergenerational living. So what they're doing is that they're actually stopping the elders from coming to get the vaccination because they're not giving them the right information. Empower your elders. Make sure they get the facts. Make sure they get the right information, not the myths that are being circulated on social media. If you don't know what the facts are, then please make sure you speak to a healthcare professional. There's lots of websites there. The Muslim Council of Britain have got some information. BIMA, the British Islamic Medical Association, have got some great fact sheets on their website. And these are all been verified by many scholars, many scientists, many people in the healthcare professions. Get your information from them, and then allow your elders to make that decision for themselves. Please don't make that decision on their behalf. So that is the main message that I would like to get. To empower your elders, get them the right information. It's your right to decide whether or not you want to take the vaccination. No one is forcing you to do it, but please make sure that you make an informed decision.
Thank you very much. I think that is a very important message that you've given. And it just reminds me, last week when we were here, we had Maulana Hayat on my program, who came in on Skype and Zoom. and he actually is one of the presenters on Iqra TV. He has a huge following, very young guy, very with it, and he said that as far as he was concerned, he did not see any issue with taking the vaccine under Islamic law. And as I said, there are many alims, both from the Deobandi and the Barelvi community and Ahl Hadith, who have actually said that the vaccine is suitable for Muslims to take, and anybody who says that it is haram is actually leading you on the wrong path. So Dr. Maria Aziz, thank you very much. Thank you for your words of wisdom, and thank you for the work that you're doing in our community, keeping our communities, all communities, safe and well. May Allah give you strength, and inshallah when we have more time, I'd love for you to come on again and do some more talk about general health issues in our community as well. And I was hoping, as I said last week, I was going to try and get Dr. Hina Shahid. I don't know whether you know of her. She is the chair of the Muslim Doctors Association. Unfortunately, she's been really busy. She texted me today that she can't do a program at all. So I'm hoping that I might do a recorded program with her. She was trying to get somebody else to come along, but I said to her, thank you very much. I've got Dr. Maria Aziz for today's program, so I don't really need anybody else for today. So inshallah, I'll bring her on sometime. But coming back, I mean, obviously, may Allah be with you and your family, and may Allah protect you, Dr. Maria Aziz. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Coming back, obviously, you know, we're close running out of time now. I mean, this is an important, and this happens every week, because as I say, when we come to the end of the program, we know we got some issues that we still wanted to touch on and we couldn't do it. Now, obviously, your role is absolutely key when it comes to delivering services in the hospital itself. So, I mean, like before Dr. Maria came on, we were talking about, you know, there are people out there who are waiting for medical treatment, and because of COVID, you know, they're not receiving it at the moment. I mean, what would you say to them as to what they need to do, apart from obviously being patient? I'm sure there must be a lot of people worried about it.
So obviously, if anybody's found that their condition has deteriorated, or if they're having significant problems, they need to get back into contact with us. That's the first and foremost.
Would they have to go
to
to the GP first?
Yeah, if you contact your GP, or if you're already under the care of the hospital and you're already seeing a consultant, then it's a matter of contacting the consultant secretary to say, my condition is deteriorated, and we will be able to review those individuals clinically on, because we're doing lots of different ways of keeping in touch with patients. So we've obviously written to patients who've been on our waiting list. We've been doing non-face-to-face appointments. We're doing face-to-face appointments as well. The clinicians review the patient's notes and then make a decision as to whether those individuals need to come in. So if anybody's feeling that their condition has deteriorated, please do seek help. Don't stay at home not seeking that support and that help. That's the first thing I would say. But as Dr. Maria was saying there, it's actually incumbent upon us, I live in a multi-generation home, actually to make sure that we get vaccinated, because that's the way that we're going to get ourselves out of this position. It's not going to happen naturally. We've seen it 2 or 3 times now where we've been in lockdown, we've come out of lockdown, and we see the spikes we get in terms of COVID spread and patients being impacted by that. So the only way out of it is for us to get vaccinated, to maintain the social distancing procedures and measures that are currently in place. And then inshallah, over time, what we will find is that we will get back to normal. And the thing that astounds me is that Islam's been at the forefront of science and medicine. That's the beauty of Islam, is that it was at the forefront. Yes. And we need to get back to that point. Is if you look back into the deen and you understand and you recognize what the Prophet ﷺ used to say about medicine and how medicine developed. Well, actually, this is no different in terms of that. You've trusted and you've put your faith into in the doctors, in the NHS since. So I'm 41 now. I've had all my vaccinations. Why would we not do that for this? And that's the main point I'm going to make today.
Well, I think that's a really eminent point. I mean, I'll come back to you in a minute. I mean, Dr. Farooq Sahab, obviously I've seen your video in Gujarati encouraging people to take the vaccination. Have you done one again? And have you done it in Urdu? Or you're a very well-known shair as well.
Oh,
I mean, I don't know whether you know about this, but he's a really well-known poet.
We can have a program on that as well. But what I would say, if there are Gujarati-speaking viewers here, आपने જ્યારે આપનો વારો આવે વેક્સિન લેવા માટે પ્લીઝ જશો જ, કેમ કે એનાથી આપનો ફાયદો થશે, આપણા સમાજનો ફાયદો થશે, આપણું બધાનું સારું થશે, અને ભવિષ્યમાં આપણે પુનઃ ફરીથી નોર્મલ જીવન જીવતા કદાચ થઈ શકીશું. અને એના લીધે NHSની જે વાત કરી સાજ સાહેબે કે NHS ઉપર જે પ્રેશર છે એ ઓછું થશે અને એટલા માટે ખાસ દુઆ સાથે ખાસ વિનંતી કે જ્યારે આપનો વારો આવે વેક્સિન લેવાનો તો લેશો. ડૉક્ટર મારિયા અઝીઝે કહ્યું એમ વેક્સિનથી ગભરાવાની કોઈ જરૂર નથી. આપને પ્રશ્નો હોય તો પ્રશ્ન જરૂર પૂછો, ડૉક્ટરને પૂછો, આલિમોને પૂછો. જ્યારે તમને જવાબ મળે સંતોષ થાય પણ વેક્સિન લેવાનું ચૂકશો નહીં પ્લીઝ.
Excellent program. I think we'll do that for something else as well. We'll be collecting some people's sort of thoughts, and we'll do with both of you. But I mean, obviously, you at this high taste, not at the top, but nearly the top, and inshallah very soon you will be at the top. I mean, your plans for the future for the NHS, obviously are very important, and I don't think we have enough time. But within the minute and a half, can you tell us where you think the NHS Trust and Foundation Trust is going, particularly with the changes they're looking at doing with the housing and social care and health and everything else?
So what I'm going to do, because I won't be able to do it justice in
No,
the time we've got left.
I'll have to call you back again.
I certainly don't want to steal Mel Pickup, who's our Chief Executive Thunder, because she'll be able to tell you absolutely everything in terms of the future. I think for me, immediately, the immediate future is how do we recover from COVID? How do we ensure that those patients that need to be seen who are waiting for treatment get their treatments, so that's key and critical. And then the second part is for us as an organisation, we want to get to an outstanding organisation. We're already rated as a good organisation, but we want to move to outstanding, and we move to outstanding by engaging with our communities. So we want to hear from you in terms of what services we can improve, how we can make further improvements. We want you to engage with us, and that's what I would be saying, is because we're really on this big drive to get to an outstanding organisation. Like I say, we're already a good organisation and we want to get to outstanding.
Very quickly, I'll be doing my last job at this service. The PALS system, is it still going?
Patient Advice and Liaison Service.
And
so the complaints and the PALS and system.
And does that still sort of get involved? You get people involved in helping shape service delivery?
So we're dead keen to learn from our communities that we serve in its widest sense. So I mean, we've done that with our chaplaincy service and how we've developed the chaplaincy service over time. But yeah, any ideas, any suggestions, we're really keen to hear from you on those, and we'll certainly do whatever.
Because in my previous life, I was regional director for the NHS department, as for regional director for CPPIH, which is the Commission, you're too young to remember this, Commission for Patient Public Involvement in Health, and I was responsible for 57 trusts in the Yorkshire region, so Yorkshire and Humberside region, all came as part of my responsibility. And that was something, alluded to what you've been doing. So yeah, I mean, obviously, these are important issues for us. Your role, mashallah, and as I said at the beginning, it is really deeply encouraging and nice to see a Muslim brother, as young as he is, in the position of Chief Operating Officer, and an inspiration to many young people, I hope, who might be viewing this program. And if they're not viewing it, and I would say to the parents, try and bring to the attention of your young people like Sajid here and Dr. Farooq. I mean, who he is not just a doctor, but then he became a Mr. and then he became a professor. And as these are titles that not many people will understand. So I refer to him as a doctor. Everybody understands who's a doctor. So can I say thank you very much to both my guests, Dr. Farooq Gachi for coming here today for the second time, and Sajid Abid as well for coming here as well, and Dr. Maria Aziz for sharing her thoughts and the work that she's been doing in her community. And thank these two for the work that they're doing in the community as well. May Allah protect them and their families, give them strength, and they continue to serve the community in the way that they have been doing. I hope you found this program interesting and relevant. I'm sure it is relevant because we talked about something really important. Inshallah, I'll be back next week, same time, and inshallah we'll see you then. In the meantime, I pray that Allah Ta'ala keeps you all safe and sound. Keep making du'as for me and everybody else. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.